go record. All right. Welcome to NoobAquatics. This is Matthew. Thank you again for coming back to our channel. We're happy to have you here, and thank you so much if you've already subscribed and liked. We appreciate you. You're the reason we keep this channel going. So if you haven't yet, make sure you do subscribe, hit that like button and notification button so you always stay up to date with any new videos that we have coming forward. We'll try to make any videos that we can. Videos are coming up. We are getting ready to do some traveling, and we are going to do some store reviews of some places, one in Indianapolis and the other one in Springfield, Missouri. And then we'll come back and we will post those up and do the reviews for those places so you guys can take a look at some of the fish stores that are not local here in Ohio. But today we're all about plants, all right? So just like the last time, we bought a bunch of rare plants from Buse Plant. Today we are talking about plants that help you reduce your nitrates in your aquarium. 1 second. All right, so like I said, we are talking about plants that help you reduce the nitrates in your aquarium. Now these will also help you cycle your aquarium, because once the plants start growing, that means that if you have ammonia in there, it'll start consuming the ammonia and then consuming the nitrite and then consuming the nitrates, and that's about the same time that you can, guarantee you can add fish no problem. Why does this keep popping up? We have plants everywhere, and if you pan across, these two tanks here, you'll see that we have plants all over. Now these right here, these are golden pothos right here. You'll see they go from all the way down there, all the way up here, all right, and then all the way over here, all right, even in this tank. Now we also have a few others. We have some Monstera adenosi. All right, these are the smaller Swiss cheese plants right here. I don't know if you can see them with the holes. All right, smaller Swiss cheese plants. We have some of those right here as well. All right, and we have a pond plant here in the back. Now this one's a little harder, but this is known as the dwarf palm. This is a very unique plant. This one we're trying out, so we just now added this one into our aquarium. And just because we are on a plant kick today, let's show you what we did. This is just because we like plants. All right, this is our plant table. All right, back here in the back, I got a Swiss cheese, so a mini Monstera with a giant Monstera back here in the back. This one will get, probably 6 feet with big old giant Swiss cheese leaves. We got our pothos. This is every time we take cuttings from our pothos over here. All right, when we take cuttings from our pothos, we cut them off right above the little root nodules here. All right, and then we put those in water like this so that we can start the root growth. Okay. Snake plant. We got our little plant lights over here just in case we're not getting enough light from our windows. This is not an east-facing window, so we have to have grow lights to keep it going. Little mini rows back there, and then the pothos. Follow me if you want to see plants. All right. So out here, what is this thing again? A phlox? Okay. So out here we got this plant. This plant is something we planted last year. This is called a phlox. It's got these beautiful purple flowers here. All right. It was just this big when we bought it. Now it's huge. Okay. So that's from last year. This is also from last year over here. This right here is a hosta. This right here is a hosta. All right. We planted this last year as well. This is about how big it was when we bought it, but this is only a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of growth, right? And this one right here, another hosta, and it's got some new leaves growing right here. There's a new leaf right there, another one right there, there's another one right there. So there's 3 new leaves. We thought this was dead, and then I dug around just to check, and it's got some new leaves growing. Now, because we want to, make sure bees and hummingbirds and butterflies and that have something to, come and grab so that they can get enough food to pollinate other things, we went and got some plants today. So this is a cornflower plant right here. sorry, coneflower. This is the coneflower plant right here. It's going to grow big red flowers here, and this is they call this the pink frosting, but this is the bee balm right here. So we're hoping this brings some butterflies. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I got a hanging plant here too. These are the fuchsia plants. We got two different kinds in there. So you'll see one of them is kind of a pink and a light purple, and the other one is a dark red with a dark purple. So it's kind of a contrasting purple and reddish color. So that's really cool. All right, so that's enough about house plants and outdoor plants. Let's go back into the fish tanks where this channel is all about. Okay. All right, so like I said, we're about fish tanks and we're about plants reducing the nitrates. So what we're going to do here in a minute is we're going to take this plant right here. All right, and this is another type of pothos. This is the pearls and jade pothos. You'll see the leaves are a little different. They're a little bit more waxy than the other ones, and it's got really beautiful white leaves. I'm going to show you how to take this from a plant that you buy at places like Lowe's or Home Depot. It can be any pothos. It's all the same steps, and how to put it into your aquarium so that it can help start reducing your nitrates in your aquarium. Reason why these are good is because if you have fish that just love to chew, munch, and destroy your plants, then this is the way you need to go to get plants in your aquarium. These plants, they can grow underwater, but we don't recommend it because it's slow and it's super slow. That's really the main thing. But you want this to be outside of the water. You want it to have enough light. So you'll see here, I got plant lights here. All right, these plant lights help with the monsteras. They help with the the dwarf palm over here. They help it grow. You want enough light to the plants so that they will grow and pull those nitrates out of there, but you also want to make sure you're clipping them. But yeah, so here in just a second, I'm going to show you how to take this and clean it off and get it ready for the aquarium, and then put it in so that you can begin to reduce your nitrates with plants. But before we get into that, why do you want to reduce your nitrates? Well, so that you don't have to do water changes every week. So our goal is to make sure that water changes are a thing of the past. Yeah, we may still have to do a water change every now and then. We understand that, but we don't want to have to do a water change every week or even every other week, which is what we went down to. We got so many plants in this aquarium here that are being fertilized by the fish, by the decaying plant matter, by root tabs that we have in there. We want to make sure that the aquarium is much closer to a natural environment, and the water is aged to the point where it can actually develop all that biodiversity in there to keep the fish healthy, fed, all of that. So if we go on vacation, we don't have to worry about them starving to death. They have stuff all throughout the aquarium so that they can take care of themselves without us. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so yeah, the way to go on that one is to make sure that you have plants that grow fast. That's the pothos. It grows extremely fast. The palm, the dwarf palm, that grows extremely fast. Not so much on the monstera up there. It's more of a medium speed grower, but it still grows. I had the giant monstera back there, and after, was it a month, it started to grow a whole new shoot. So it still grows pretty fast, even though it's a slow grower. But you need to have space. So that's why we went with the smaller Swiss cheese. This is the adenosine, which is a much smaller version of that. But the pothos is the way to go. So these are really cheap. Right here, these are super cheap. You can get them at Lowe's for about 15 bucks. But yeah, so this is a really cheap plant. It's about $14.99 for one pot of pothos, similar to what we got over there. Now again, that's not the normal ones. That's the more expensive one because it's just a harder to find one. But yeah, so about 15 bucks. 15 bucks can do an entire 75-gallon aquarium in the back, and the amount of roots that you will get from that, and the amount of nitrate reduction you'll get from that is exponential. One thing I did learn though that I will recommend before we get into how you take care of the plant is that you do not trim the roots. You can, but don't. So what happens when you trim the roots is that just like the trimmings of the plants, the stem plants in here, where when you cut it, it grows plants to the left, it grows two plants. If you cut it again, it'll grow two more plants. That's the same thing that happens with the roots. If you clip it, then it's going to grow like lots of branches, and it's going to get really bushy and bunchy in there, and it's going to be hard for the fish to swim through. So once you get it in there, just let it grow. Let it grow all the way down into the substrate, because those roots will do two things. They'll pull nitrates out of the water column, and they'll pull nitrates out of the substrate. And in this tank, and in that tank, and in that tank, it's all growing into the substrate. You can see right here, and I'm sorry the lights are off. It is, nighttime. So, but you'll see right here, that pothos was having a hard time growing, but once it got down into the substrate, that thing started kicking off, and you'll see it's got super dark green leaves. And this is actually a golden pothos, which is funny. It's going all the way back there. And then over here, you'll see it's going down into the substrate right there. You want it to do that. That's what you want it to do. But yeah, so pothos, a very important plant for fish keepers. The other ones are just if you want to have a variety of plants, but you need to make sure you have some kind of light for them that is specific for the plants. Mainly because this is a pond plant that needs direct sunlight, so that's what this is. This is the monstera that needs like 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. So yeah, so you want to make sure you have light for them so that they grow really well. All right, so let's get into how you take this right here, rinse it off, get rid of all those chemicals or anything that's in there, the fertilizers that they use, because you don't want to put none of that in your aquarium, because it could be, synthetic, it could be some sort of toxin. You don't want anything in here but the roots and the plants. So let's get into how you clean this off, get it prepared, and put it into your tank. Stay tuned. All right, so like I said, we are going to prepare this and get it ready to put into the tanks. Now, I made some little node holders that I'll show you in just a minute after I get all this cleaned out and the roots all prepared. But it's always good to have a bag. Now, what you can do is you can just take some kind of grocery bag and then just chop off the top, fold the rest of it, and just the part that's folded, you're just going to put into the bottom like this, and this is what will hold all your root nodes. So let's go outside and clean off the dirt and get this prepared. You following us, Mary? What are you doing? Okay. So you're just going to squeeze the thing a little bit, and that's just to loosen it up. You go put that over there for me. Here, you're going to just kind of break it up. Get all the dirt loose without breaking. Try not to break too many roots, but you'll see that they'll start coming loose. Maylee, back up. She's recording. Okay. So once you start seeing them come loose, I like to take my fence post right here, and I'll tap these against the fence post. You'll see that this is a separate set. I want to get as much dirt off as I possibly can outside. All right. Just kind of tapping the roots against the wood. And I'm going to take these roots, I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to continue going. So grab as many as I can. Alright, so once you got as much dirt off as you can, alright, you're going to bring it inside. All right, so the next step will be to rinse off the roots. Now, the reason you're going to rinse off the roots is because you don't know what kind of fertilizers and stuff were used in the dirt. These, I believe, were in organic dirt, most likely organic fertilizers, but I can't trust it. So you're going to go to the bathroom or shower, somewhere where you got a spray nozzle, and you're going to spray off the roots. All right, so we are in the bathroom now, and I do apologize. We have a vent that does not have a secondary switch. So you're going to take these out of there, just lay them in the bottom. We have a sprayer in here. You're going to try to use water that is roughly room temperature. All right, now that we have our roots cleaned off, all right, we have all of them cleaned off. All right, I'm gonna take my towel, spread it out. I'm gonna lay these on the towel. Now, there's a few things you need to keep in mind. Roots don't like to dry out. Did I lose one? So I have a spray bottle, and if these get all dry, or if they look like they're getting dry, I'll just spray them like that. No longer dry. Alrighty. All right, so like I said, we're going to be putting these in some of the tanks that don't have them. Now, some of the tanks don't have a way to put them in, so if you look over here, you'll see up here this cheese grate, or whatever you want to call it, this grating right here, like egg crate grating, cheese grate, whatever it's called. You can get this at Lowe's. You can cut it to size. A lot of times these glass lids right here, they come with a piece of plastic in the back. That plastic you can use to drill holes in it, or you can just remove it, cut out a little plastic piece like this, and the plants can go down in the holes. Well, we don't have traditional lids on some of these aquariums. So you'll see here, this is a plastic lid that I made. So what I did was I drilled a hole right here. Okay, put tape on it so that it doesn't get water in there. And that's what I did to the lids that don't have that egg crate on the back. We need a place to hold the roots. So in that case, I got this. So if you look here, all this is a tube holder, so a sticky suction cup with a tube holder on it. This right here is some tubing. All right, and inside the tubing I have a zip tie. I forgot what the thing was called. So So what I'm going to do with this, you just take it here, you put it in, pull it up. All right, the roots will go down into the zip tie like this. As you can see, now we have Pothos growing. We're going to be growing in here. So, good place for it. Now when we take the lid off, we just slide it over like this. All right. I'm gonna make sure this is tight. Okay. And we can put it back. So, now this will get, while it's small like that, it's not gonna do very good. But as it gets taller and taller and taller, it'll start hanging over the edge. And once it does, this will hold in there a lot better. So it'll be similar to this. But once it starts hanging out, it'll hold itself to the side of the glass. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get these put in on our other tanks. Some of these I'm going to put into the big tanks. So I'll put those aside. And then the rest I will fast forward and we'll get them where they need to go. Alright, so I figured I'd show you guys how to make those little hooks, right? So you're going to take a piece of tubing, not very big. If you want to measure it, you can always take your pinky. If you have a pinky like mine, measure it, and then clip the tubing. Then you'll see that my pinky is about the right size. So these are bonsai scissors. The only scissors that are super sharp and have never rusted. I have submerged these in water so many times over the last year, and there's not a single scrap of rust. So and then you take a indoor outdoor, that's the important part. Indoor outdoor zip tie. I'm just going to take it and shove it right through the tubing. All the way down to the other end. So From here, you're just going to zip tie it. Very simple. There you go. You got your ring. All right. And then clip the other end off. Okay. Okay. So these are some suction cups that are for holding this particular size of airline tubing, which is the most common size found in the aquarium trade. So any of them will work. These I just happen to have lying around. And the joy of this channel is to use what you have available. So you'll see here, got the clip. I always go from this side, clip it on like this, and then you turn it. And boom, you have yourself a Pothos holder. All right, so now you got it in your tanks, right? So now you got your Pothos in there. It's growing and it's starting to look something like this back here. You see, it's starting to look massively long. You know, you're getting all these branches that are coming off here. You don't know what to do with them, so you do what we did. You just take them and you just start wrapping them around things, right? So you'll see here, these plants are just wrapping around themselves. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to propagate this, okay? You'll see right here, if I can get this leaf out, this is a good one to propagate. Do you see why? Well, I do. It's because right here, you see there's no leaves. All right? So right here, right above this shoot here, I'm going to show you where to cut. You just cut right here. Boom. All right, I'm going to let that grow. When it gets longer and the leaves start catching, I will just do the same thing. I'll just wrap it around. It'll hold on. New leaves will shoot out of here, that type of thing. So now this, all right, you're going to propagate this. All right. Let's grab another one. So let's see, where else is getting kind of long? Right here is getting kind of long. So you'll see that these right here, these are getting pretty long. Okay, now it's starting to drag down. It's getting to the point where it can't get to the light. So just like the other one, you'll see I have actually two coming out of the same spot, one coming out here, one coming out there. I'm gonna take this big one. I'm gonna chop right there, boom, big one gone. There's one there, and this one back here in the back that's also going down. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. You'll see right here, right at where the leaf, node comes out. You're just gonna chop it right there. All right, so now I got 3 cuttings. Okay. Let's get some new water. So you need fresh water. Filtered. Okay. So you got some fresh water. Now one other thing I like to do is I like to give the roots a fighting chance, right in the beginning. I will take my aquarium, and unfortunately this is Aquarium Co-op Easy Green. I don't use this in the aquariums, but this is some pretty good fertilizer. All right. I'm going to take out some of this, and I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 drops in there. That's all I'm going to put in there. Okay. And now I'm going to get these guys ready to go. I got 3 of them. Or do I? All right. So this one right here, it looks like 1 cutting, right? Now it's 2. So how do you get these in the water? So you need to have at least 1 or 2 leaves, right? But you also need to have a way to stick it into the water. So I'm going to cut this leaf off. I'm going to cut this leaf off right here. And as you'll see, I'll show you here, these little bumps right here, all these little bumps, that is where the roots are going to come out of. All right? This right here is going to act as a type of food for the plant. So this part right here will actually start to degrade down, and it'll actually start to melt in the water. When it does, it's going to create ammonia. It's going to create nitrogen, and whenever that happens, the roots are going to feed off that. So I leave this little node in the water. So first thing I do after that, after I've cut those leaves off, you're just going to take it, boom, put it right in the water. If you really want to make sure that it's in there and you get a lot of roots, you get it down there, but leave the leaves out. Same thing with this one here. All right, you got a really unique one because this one actually has 2 separate shoots on it. All right, I'm going to take it. Let's see, 1, 2 leaves, 1, 2 leaves. There's not enough roots here, so how do I want to do this one? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to cut below here. All right, cut this 1 leaf off, and I'm going to take these 3 leaves and I'm going to put them in the water. Okay, so now they're propagated. Well, kind of. They're starting. So this is how you start your pothos. Just in case this one will work, I'm just going to take this whole thing like it is and just shove it down in the water. This, I like the way it looks, but they're teeny tiny leaves. So you'll see how small these leaves are. All right, this right here needs more room to grow, I guess you can say. So I'm going to leave all 4 of these leaves on there. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it all the way down in the water. Last one. All right, remember this is the long one that had no leaves. got a lot of spaces where it can have roots. You can see all those little black knots. All right, those are all potential roots. So I don't need that much on there. So I'm going to take this last half. Now technically, if you do this right, you can take this, put it in the water like that, and it could potentially grow another leaf. I don't really care because I got plenty right back there. So I'm going to go with the ones that already have leaves, and I'm going to put this in the water as well. All right, so now you got them in the water. Next step, give it sunlight. So if you live in an apartment and you are on a horrible light facing window, you may have to do what we did. You may have to get grow lights. So this is just a regular old cheap grow light. All right, it gives additional light here. There is some light coming through there, and as you can see, the Pothos, this is propagated the same way I did these. These come from our aquarium right here. So do these, and that's how you get this. So in the end, all right, after you propagated them successfully, this started out as just a simple one leaf right here. Those little nodes that I was telling you about, this is what happens. You'll see the roots, they're coming down, and it grows considerably. So this is what the final outcome is of putting it in the water. Same thing here. Here. There. And then here. Now, remember I said that some parts of it will become food? All right, so if you'll see here, you see this? Remember I said it deteriorates down. This actually was food for the plant in the water. So that's why I only do fertilizer every now and then. Now this needs to come off before you put it in the tank. So I'm just going to take that and you're just going to cut right at the very end. All right. And now you have plants ready to go into another aquarium. So these, not sure where we're going to put them yet, but I do know I'm going to put this one in one of the kids' tanks. And another one in one of the kids' tanks. Probably one of these, let's see. Which one do you think? Probably not that one. Huh? No, this one? Or do you want this one? This one's huge. I can do this one. And then these, we'll just find a home for them somewhere. All right. So that is how you prepare pothos plants for your aquarium. And remember that pothos plants are just one factor. Pothos plants help by getting more access to the air, so the CO2 in the air here, which helps to extract more nitrates out of the aquarium. We have a lot of plants in the top. Why? Because we don't want our fish to be living in nitrates, but we also have a lot of plants in here. There are many areas where the nitrates need to be removed. Nitrates need to be removed from the substrate. Nitrates need to be removed from the water column. So how do we do that? We do that with plants that are water column feeders. We do that with plants that are root feeders. And we do that with plants that have access to CO2 on the outside so that they can destroy the nitrates in our aquarium. Well, again, thank you so much for coming back to NoobAquatics. This has been an adventure here, getting pothos ready and propagated and learning how to put it into your aquarium, as well as making a way to hold it in your aquarium with just stuff you have lying around. Well, thanks again so much for coming to NoobAquatics. I'm Matthew. If you haven't subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. We're happy you are a subscriber to our channel. Remember to hit that notification bell so that you get notified of any new videos that we upload on YouTube. And remember to hit that like. Thank you so much for coming to our channel and helping our family grow in the aquarium hobby. You have a wonderful day.